All because one day, one friend who no longer is a part of the faith called me and said, do you want to go to an all-nighter? In the interest of full disclosure, I'll just tell you guys, I have actually never seen that movie. Pastor Doug picked that one. He could have let me preach from like the movie Space Jam or something, which I could have done, or one of the Avengers movies, which I really could have done, or the Lord of the Rings, or some really cool movie. But he chose this war movie, and I'm not a war movie guy, so I've actually never seen that. But in that scene, the main character, his name is Desmond, is a medic in World War II. And that was actually a compilation of a few scenes. And he is going across the battlefield, finding wounded soldiers, and then lowering them down a cliff face to safety. But before I actually get started today, before the first service, I had a few people ask me why I was wearing my mask, because I hadn't been wearing my mask before the services before. And I want to tell you why. The truth is, I told Holly that for at least a few more weeks, I was going to kind of insist that she wear a mask. And what you guys need to know about my home is that when I say something, it is done. So I said, listen. No, I'm just kidding. I did ask Holly, I said, when we're in church and when we're kind of mingling with folks, I really, really, really think it's a good idea that you wear a mask, because you and the baby you're carrying, let's try and keep you safe. And the baby. So what I'm telling you is that Holly is expecting. So we're very excited. About time. Thank you. Thank you. There's nothing good I can say from here. Everything in my head is something that would get me fired. So I'm going to stop. Yeah. The first service was much kinder. They didn't applaud, but they were much kinder. No. No, we are very excited, though. She is due probably end of February, beginning of March. We're not completely sure yet. And the truth is, she's super early right now, 7 or 8 weeks. And I know some people are like, that's too early. You're not supposed to tell that early. And they're probably right, because everything that could go wrong goes wrong right about now. Here's the thing. When we got married, it was very important to me, my ecclesiology, my theology of the church, it was very important to me when we got married that we invite the entire church. And it was a church of 440-ish people. And her parents were thrilled when I said, we have to invite the whole church. And it's not like an open invitation like, here, put it in the bulletin. It was, we literally invited the entirety of the church. It's important to me that we celebrate good things together. We are a church family, and that's something we do. And the catch side of that, the other side, is that when bad things happen, we grieve together. So now you know of our great joy. And if it turns into great sorrow, we will grieve together. We have grieved together before as a family. Not for our tragedy, but for some of yours. We have grieved together. And if this becomes ours, we know you will grieve with us. So, yes, it's early. She's about 7 or 8 weeks. But we are so excited. And quite frankly, I'm the kind of person who just can't not tell. You guys know Holly. She'd be like, oh yeah, I'm 8.5 months. I'm announcing now. You know me. I'm like, dude, it's been 3 minutes. Can we tell everyone, please? So I had told one of my internet friends before, and I said, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. You're literally the only person who's not blood related who knows this. He goes, well, it's because I'm an internet friend. I can't tell any of your real friends. I was like, you got it. So that's kind of where we're at. So we are excited, and that's why if I'm wearing a mask, I'm not making some huge, political statement. I told her I really wanted her to, and if I'm going to ask her to do so, I felt like it was only fair that I do so as well. So let's get started. We find ourselves in Luke 15 when Pastor Doug said, hey, you can pick between this or this. Now, I knew the other movie, the one for next week, I knew that movie better, but I'm going to be honest, the sermon was a lot harder to preach. A lot harder to preach, and you'll get to hear that next week. But this one, when he told me what the clip was, because he was like, it's from Hacksaw Ridge. You know Hacksaw Ridge? I was like, what old man movies are you watching? He goes, no, that's a new movie. I said, what? It might be a great movie, but I've never seen it, and I don't like war movies, so I'm just inclined not to watch them. He said, well, here's what the clip is. And then he explained it to me. And I was like, oh, well, that sermon kind of writes itself. So I kind of took the easy way out with the easier sermon with the movie I was unfamiliar with, as opposed to the more difficult sermon with the movie I was familiar with. Does that make sense? Yes. So it was almost just a given that the text we'd use today was Luke chapter 15. Now, Luke says, the tax collectors and the sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus, which I think is a statement worth just noting on its own. That Jesus, this supposed rabbi, this religious man, is walking around, and people who are non-religious are just drawn to him. They want to come and hear what he has to say. I think that's just worth pointing out to begin with. But, Luke continues, but the Pharisees and teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and he eats with them." The religious people had trouble with what was happening. The religious people didn't like what was happening. So Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors, and he says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. This scripture just was the clear and obvious scripture to use based on the clip we saw. And so what I want to tell you today can all be summed down in one thought. We need a new mentality. We need a new mentality. And I'm going to get to what that is, but I'm going to start with the old one. I think this is becoming more prevalent right now. I think I'm seeing more of it right now than I've ever seen before in my life. We, as a people, not just us, but we, the big, huge collective we pursue safety. We yearn for safety. We have this deep desire to be safe. And I just want to say, I don't think that's a bad thing. At its core, I don't think that's a bad thing. For instance, when Xavier says, and some of you are asking, where is Xavier? He is in Ohio. He is in Columbus, Ohio with my mom. So he is her problem this week. Have fun. They may be watching. So if you are, I hope you're being good. Don't eat too much candy. But you're with her, so I don't really care. When Xavier says, "Can I ride my bike?" the first thing I say to him is, of course, put on your helmet. When I get in the car and I'm going to drive somewhere, the first thing I do is reach behind me, put on my seatbelt, because I want to be safe. But the truth is, if I wanted to be really safe, I wouldn't go anywhere. I just wouldn't drive anywhere. Because Holly's sister is the worst driver ever. She's the worst driver ever, and I've been in her car with her, and I've held on to the seat, and I've held on to the handle, and I've had my eyes as wide as possible, and I guarantee she's not the only one who is that bad of a driver. There are more of her out there, and they're all driving, and someday they're going to hurt me, and I can't control their bad driving, so the real truth is, if I wanted to be safe, I just wouldn't drive anywhere. I would call Uber Eats for all of my meals. I would call Instacart for all of my groceries. And when I needed something from IKEA, I would just have it delivered. I would be a hermit who never left the house if I really cared about safety. But I think right now, more than I've ever seen in my life, we are pursuing safety to maybe what I would consider to be a slightly unhealthy degree. I'm on Facebook, and I think I told you last week, Facebook is probably the worst thing I do with my time. Because it just makes me so angry. Now, nobody called me the worst kind of human this week, so this is a win for me. But I'm just watching as just society is crumbling in this pursuit of safety. Well, we can't do this until it's absolutely safe. Well, we can't do this until it's absolutely safe. We can't do this until it's absolutely... And my question is, what does that mean? What is absolute safety? When are you ever absolutely safe? The only safe way to go driving is just to not drive. The only safe way to do this is just to not go. The only safe way to do whatever. We are pursuing safety. And it's the mentality that is shaping us today. And I'm not just talking about the coronavirus. Again, I could have talked about any movie. We could have done an entire summer series on Hamilton, and I could have done all the messages, and they all would have been awesome, and I would have danced for you and everything. But in Hamilton, there's this scene, and it's the one when I saw it live, it's the one that just absolutely devastated me. I'm not afraid, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I don't want to watch Hamilton with other people because I don't need you to see me ugly cry through the entire second act. But in the first act, there's a moment where Burr comes out with his newborn child, and then Hamilton comes out with his newborn child, and they're singing a song. And one of the lines in the song is, "I'll make the world safe and sound for you." It's something that we just inherently know that we should try to make things as safe as possible. We should try to live as safely as possible. We should do things that keep us and keep ours as safely as possible. And the irony's not lost on me that I just got done telling you that now that Holly's pregnant, we're wearing masks. The irony's not lost on me. I see it, I'm aware, and I get it. We do this. But the truth is, this mentality of safety, it filters and it mingles down into our other parts of life. And the majority of us, many of us, most of us, some of us, use whichever one of those you want, will not tell another person about church or Christ or God or their Christianity because they fear the lack of safety that comes with talking about it. Once you talk about it, once you tell your coworker, hey, let me tell you about my church, which is kind of an awkward way to start a conversation, I'm aware, but maybe someone you have an established relationship with, and they're like, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, went to church and talked about this. That's a good way to start that. But the truth is, many of us won't have that conversation because we fear what happens next. We fear that it's not safe to do that. What if they think I'm one of those weirdos that goes to one of those snake bite churches? What if they think we're those crazies with the hankies? Ah! Running the aisles. What if? The truth is you fear that it won't be safe. And while I think safety is good, and I try to stay safe, the truth is, if we go back to Jesus' analogy with the sheep, if you keep all the sheep in one place, a safe pasture, you put up a big wall so nothing can get in. No coyotes, no wolves, nothing can get in. If you did that, your sheep would all die. They would eat all the food that was in there, there would be no more food, and they would die. Safety is overrated, and safe churches die. Safe churches die. I've watched it happen. So we need a new mentality, because safety cannot be our primary goal. It just can't. We need the just one more mentality. It's the one we just saw in the movie clip. And I apologize, I know that clip was kind of dark, and for some of you, you should be glad that it was kind of dark, because one of those scenes has a guy with no legs, because it's a war movie. And he's dragging him. And so it's dark, and I'm sorry about that, but the just one more mentality, what we just saw in the movie clip. I've heard at this church, in every church I've ever been a part of, I've heard people say this: I wish more people would come to church. Why isn't our church growing? Why are there no new families? Why is nobody coming? And to everyone who's ever said that to me, I'll look them square in the face and I'll say this. How many people did you invite this week? How many people have you personally asked to come and be a part of what we're doing here? Well, I can't because it's just so hard for me to talk to people. Okay. Everyone's got a reason, but why? How many of you invited? Why isn't our church growing? How many of you invited? Those are direct correlations. And we live in an age where it's a little different than it ever has been, at least in any of our memories. We are living in an era where we're seeing an increase in nuns. Now, during the first service, Miss Fran was sitting there, and you know Miss Fran used to be a nun, but that's an N-U-N, nun. And so I had to clarify, I don't mean N-U-Ns like Miss Fran, I mean N-O-N-E-S, nuns. And those are people that when asked to check where their religious background is or where their religion is, they check a box that says none. They're not the people that say, well, I consider myself spiritual but not religious. And they always do that with their hands when they say that. I'm spiritual, but I don't think I'm religious. You know, I'll have a double chai, no skim, extra whip. Thank you. Those are the same people. But the nuns, that's not what I'm talking about. These are not people who, when they were 15, they went to a crazy mega church that didn't have any real foundation, and after they found that this is just nothing, they left. That's a different group of people. These are people whose parents didn't go to church, and so on Sunday morning, they don't feel like they're missing something. Do you ever feel that on a Sunday when you're not here, where you're like, man, I'm just missing something? When I go on vacation, and I'm not in church on Sunday morning, I feel guilty. I do. I'm like, man, we should be in church. We're in Tennessee. Well, they got churches here. It's different for me because none of you on Monday, when you're on a week of vacation and you're not at your job, none of you are like, man, I just feel like I should be at my job. None of you feel that way. But I do on Sundays. When I'm not here, I'm like, man, I should be at church. Last year we were at NYC on a Sunday, and I was like, I should be at church. I'm with your kids. Ugh. The nuns, they don't feel that. They don't have that guilt, that, ooh, I should have been in church on Sunday. It's the same way you feel every Saturday when you're not in a Jewish temple. I know some of you are racked with guilt every Saturday night, like, I should be at Sabbath. I should be there. No, you're not, because it's never been a part of your life. The nuns are in that same boat. They don't have a background here, which makes this whole mentality, this just one more mentality, it makes it both easier and it makes it harder. It makes it easier because they're not coming to it with a bunch of baggage that they're already holding. It makes it harder because they don't have any of the basis. When I was in the 4th grade, I meant to tell this to the first service, I forgot. When I was in the 4th grade, we had our school choir and I was in it. I sang a beautiful soprano in the 4th grade. Come on, that's funny. Thank you. Miss Libby's my help. I'm just going to look at her. She's laughing at my jokes. You guys are killing me today. I sang a beautiful soprano in the 4th grade in the school choir, and we were having our Christmas concert, and one of the songs we sang was Silent Night. And the choir teacher, the choir director, she kind of sprung that one on us at the last minute. Like, we had all these other songs we were going to sing. She goes, oh, you know what? Let's sing Silent Night too. And everyone's like, good, okay. And she goes, you all know the words. And she starts conducting, and I'm going, I don't know this song. And you guys are going, what, Silent Night? No, I didn't know this song. Hold the infant, so tender in my... I didn't know what I was talking about, so I was just making up words as I went. I understood Silent Night, hold the night, holdy night. I don't know what I was even... I didn't know the words. That's what I'm talking about. This nuns meant they don't know. They don't even know they don't know. That makes it easier and it makes it harder. What we need to do is find entry-level places to bring people into what we have here. What that means is we used to do, and maybe someday we'll start doing it again. I don't know when, but we used to have wonderful times on the first Sunday of every month where we'd sit out there and eat together. And I got to be honest, I miss eating with you people. I miss some of your cooking, too. So if you just wanted to cook for me and bring me food, that would be fine. That would be fine. I would be okay with that. We used to do that. And if you don't make it awkward, that's a really easy way to invite someone to church. If you go up to your friend and you're like, hello, I'd like to invite you to my church fellowship on the first Sunday of the month, that's probably not going to work. But if you said, hey, I'm having dinner with my friends, would you like to come? They might come. Easy way to get people to church. We have a Facebook. Some of you are on it right now. Hi, Facebook land. Where we stream our services. Easy way to get people to check it out and see what we're all about. We have a YouTube page. Based on the viewership on our YouTube page, I am acutely aware of the fact that most of you don't know it exists. And if you don't know it exists, I'm very frustrated because I've worked very hard to make sure you know it exists. Pastor Doug and I worked really hard on that YouTube page. We did an entire series on the New Testament. Just a 30,000-foot look at the New Testament. Then we did a series on what Nazarenes believe that maybe other Christians don't. Then we did a series that we're currently in on the book of Galatians. And you might not know this. Pastor Doug can talk for hours and hours and hours and hours about Galatians. I've had to rein him in. Whoa, you're getting too far, man. Keep these at like 10 minutes. Well, what about? Nope. 10 minutes. We've been working really hard. That's a good place to get people invested in the church. To get people to see what we're about. The world is craving an intellectual faith. A faith that doesn't conflict with science, reason, logic. We have that. We do not ask you to check your brain at the door when you walk in. There are a lot of churches that do. You have a pastor who's very, very, very good at that. Merging faith and reason. Merging faith and science. Faith and logic. That's one of the things your pastor is very good at. Take advantage of that. The world is tired of this wishy-washy, super emotional, with no meat behind it faith. They're yearning for something a little stronger. When I was young, I was in the 8th grade. It was the 3rd day of 8th grade. A friend of mine called me and he said, hey, do you want to come to church with me? And I'm going, go to what? With what? He goes, come to church with me. It'll be fun. And I said, wait, did you just say fun and church in the same sentence? Because every time I've been to church, it's been the worst. The worst. Do you know they made me stand up and sit down no less than 15 times in the span of 22 minutes? Oh my gosh, it was the worst. He said, no, it'll be fun. It's an all-nighter. I said, what's an all-nighter? He said, we'll be at the church and we'll hang out, we'll play games, and we'll go bowling, we'll go here. I said, all night? He said, all night. He goes, nobody sleeps. I said, what if I can't stay up all night? He said, they'll put ketchup on your face. I said, well, then I probably won't go to sleep. And I didn't, because I didn't want ketchup on my face. And I went to church with my friend. That night I met a girl. My teens have heard this one before. I met a girl. Her name is Jenny. She has glasses. She had glasses. They were, I'm not exaggerating, the biggest glasses that have ever existed. They were huge, and they were pink. And they were this thick. And she asked me that night if I wanted to go out. And I said yes. She later became Jen, and Jen is one of my very dear friends. That night I met a young man my age. His name is Marky. I met him that night, that first night. Marky, whom now I'm not allowed to call that. If I call him Marky, he punches me, but he's not here. So I met Marky that night. He is my very most best friend in the entire world today. I was the best man in his wedding. He was the best man in my wedding. That church was the Reynoldsburg Church of the Nazarene. I ended up going to Mount Vernon Nazarene University. I ended up becoming ordained in the Church of the Nazarene as an elder, and now I'm currently serving you wonderful people in the Mundelein Church of the Nazarene, all because one day, one friend who no longer is a part of the faith called me and said, do you want to go to an all-nighter? Your lives were impacted by my one friend calling me and saying, do you want to go to an all-nighter at my church? It'll be fun. The just one more mentality, it means something. It's not just, I don't want you to feel like we're just trying to increase our size here. I'm just trying to get you to add loops to your belt. That's not it at all. That's not the goal. The goal is that lives are impacted by those singular people that you invite on a whim. He had no reason to invite me. We had never talked about church before. We played soccer together. I was so good at soccer. I was terrible at soccer. We played soccer together. And he invited me. And it's changed your life. We need a new attitude. What happens is, 40, 50 years ago, if you would host an event at your church, we're having VBS this week. Dude, the kids would come out of everywhere. They'd come crawling out of the sewers for VBS. And you'd have 400 kids in your tiny church like, it's VBS, let's sing the VBS songs. And you do these dances. You know what I'm talking about. That doesn't work like that anymore. Now if we do VBS, we just get kids from every other church who come here. And then the next week, that church does it, and we send all those kids to that church. Then the next week, all the church kids go to that church. Then they go to that church. That's how summer would work. Now, in coronavirus land, that's a little different, but that's the way it works now. Just hosting events and opening the doors doesn't bring people in. You got to get them here. You have to get them here. It's your job. And you have to go wherever they might be. A few weeks ago, about a month and a half ago, Holly and Xavier and I went to Ohio, for a wedding. I was performing a wedding for her cousin. And we went to this wedding and we asked somebody if they would watch our 3 animals for us. We have a dog named Aaron Judge. Yeah, I got to name the dog. We have a dog named Aaron Judge. We have a cat named Lucy. And for some stupid reason, we have a fish. We asked this person, can you keep 2/3 of our animals alive? The dog, the cat, please keep them alive. If the fish dies in your care, that is fine. Can I just tell you, first of all, why do goldfish live so long? Second of all, what good is having it? In theory, the cat will keep mice away. She doesn't. In theory, the dog will keep other small animals away. She doesn't. But at least in theory, those things are true. And the dog will, at least will let you know when someone's around the house. This fish offers me nothing. It's not even a good-looking fish. It's just a stinking goldfish. But we have a goldfish. We have a cat. We have a dog. We went to Ohio. We get a text from our friend. Hey, I can't find Lucy. And we say, it's fine. She hides. She hides. She goes down in the basement and she hides. She hides up in the rafters. She hides in boxes. You wouldn't find her. You wouldn't find her. The next day, I still can't find Lucy. She's still hiding. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We get home Saturday night. We go down in the basement to find our Lucy. We're carrying treats. We're doing the little sing-song voice you do for your cat. Lucy, Lucy. Can't find her. We decide, well, she's here somewhere. Let's just put some treats out and see that they're gone in the morning. Then we'll know she's been here, right? So we put some treats out. And go to bed, wake up. Sunday morning, we go downstairs. The treats are all still there. So I said to people that morning, I said, well, I think she's in the house because I don't know where else she would be. But she didn't come get her treats, so she's sick or she's dead in the house. And I've always said, cats are cool, but they are a dime a dozen, man. Like, if this cat dies, I'll just go get another one. Like, cats are so easy to replace. They're just cats. You see free cats all the time. I got kittens. You want a kitten? No, thank you. I value my sanity. Can't find Lucy. I said she's probably just still in the basement, but she's trapped, or she's sick, or she's dead. So now we got to find her so I don't have a dead cat in my basement. I don't want to find a dead cat in my basement. So Holly and I, after church that Sunday, we go to the house and we flip the house. And when I say we flip the house, anything that was in the basement, everything moved. Nothing ended where it started that day. We moved everything. I literally disconnected the vent on the dryer looking for the cat in the vent on the dryer. How could she be in the vent on the dryer, you ask? I don't know, but I'm going to make sure she's not there because cats can do stupid things. She's not in the vent on the dryer. I looked in all the rafters. I got a ladder. I came over here and I got the ladder. And I get up with the flashlight and I looked down all the way, every rafter, both sides. I get done. I actually had hair of cobwebs that day. I had hair of cobwebs. It was a beautiful mane of cobweb hair. She's not in the basement. She's not upstairs. I go and I look in the attic. How could she get in the attic, you say? I don't think she can get in the attic, but I'm going to look. She's not in the attic. There were tears. Holly also cried. It's not a joke. I mean, it is a joke, but it's not a lie. I realized how much I actually do like this stinking cat and how much I would miss her if she was gone. I go outside to search for her because now she's not in the house. She's got to be out here somewhere. So I'm walking around the woods back here. Lucy, I got treats in my pocket. Lucy. I look under the deck. I go through the woods back here. I come back around here. I go up this side of the church. Lucy. I went around the whole pond looking for her back there. Lucy. I can't find her. And at that point, I knew Lucy was dead. I have seen the coyotes that live here. I have heard them celebrate when they have found something to eat. I know the coyotes are here. I also know that Lucy has never encountered a coyote before. And while she's big bad with our dog, Aaron, I don't think a coyote will show her the same remorse when they get slapped in the face. Monday morning, Steve and Bunny call us. And you know Steve and Bunny. Steve and Bunny are the best people. What you don't know about Steve, though, and Steve, I really hope you're watching, or at least listening. What you don't know about Steve is that he is actually Snow White. What you don't know about Steve is that when he goes up to his cabin in Michigan, he walks out onto his porch and he starts singing his little Snow White song. And the animals just come. The hummingbirds start flying in. The blue jays come in. The other birds come in. The chipmunks, the chippies, he says, come in. The little squirrels come in. The ducklings come in. The eagle comes in looking for ducklings. The deer come in. The fawns are with them. Steve, in his majestic snow whiteness, singing his little song. Hi, my babies. I'm here. Did you want that food? Steve says, I'll help you look for your cat. Steve and Bunny show up. They have brought their cat because they thought if we bring our cat, Lucy will get so mad that there's another cat, she'll come out of wherever she's hiding. They bring their cat. Their cat, they said, what we'll do, we'll get Spike to meow. And then Lucy will come out like, who's in my house? Spike is sitting in his cage like this. Spike, can you meow? Bunny's going, oh no. We go down in the basement. They go, did you look here? Yes. Did you look here? Yes. Did you look here? Yes. Did you look in the rafters? Yes. Did you look here? Yes. Guys, I'm telling you, there's nothing down here that has not been moved. We have looked everywhere in the basement. Steve and Bunny, I don't think she's in the basement. Thank you. Let's go outside and look. And I'm going, okay. So we go outside. Steve is singing his Snow White song as we traverse the woods down here. Lucy, come here, my baby. Come here. That's Steve. We're going down. You guys, you see Steve and you see 6'5" of just built a cabin with his bare hands. Yeah. We go back through here. Lucy, Lucy. We look by the playground. She's not there. We're looking for anything. Dude, I'm telling you she's dead, Steve. We go back around here. There's a room back here on the back part of the church. He goes, did you look in here? I said, Steve, cats don't have thumbs. They can't open door handles. Did you look in here? No, Steve, she's a cat. She's not a velociraptor from Jurassic Park. She can't open doors. We have to look in there. Okay. He looks in there. He opens the door and he looks to the right. There's ductwork in there. He looks to the right and then he looks to his left and I'm going, Steve, come on. And then I swear, he goes to the left and he goes, hi, BB. Hi, Lucy. And at that moment, I had like 9 emotions, but the first one was mad. Like, are you kidding me, Steve? Like, you're messing with me. You're obviously putting me on. This is a joke. Ha ha. We should have blah, blah. Dude, I go in there and I push this big man out of the way and I look down and so help me, Lucy is sitting right there. The weight in my leg, like my leg's ability to carry weight was compromised in that moment. I grabbed the ductwork and I'm like, oh my gosh, here she is. I go back home. We tried calling Bunny and Holly, neither of which answered their phone. I go back to the house. I said, Holly, we found her. Where? On the other side of the church. Dude, I've never in my life seen Holly run so fast. I grabbed the little cat carrier. I grabbed the bucket of treats. I'm going to give her all the treats to get her out of this thing. And I run back over this way. And we got her. We got her. But here's the truth. You could have given me 1,000,000 chances to look for her. You could have given me 1,000,000 opportunities to look for my cat. I never, in 1,000,000 times, would have gone in that room. I never would have done it. The just one more mentality demands that we look for people everywhere. I never would have found my cat. And she would have been coyote food at some point. I never would have found her. We never would have seen her again. And I'll be big and tough. Cats, they're easy to replace. That is not how I was a few weeks ago. We have to pursue people because they are lost. We have to pursue people because we have what they need. As the worship team comes, my prayer for you is that you would seek with fervor one more. And after you find one more, may you go back for just one more. And may you not only look where it's easy, or not only look where it's most convenient, which is apparently a tick-infested woods. May you look even in the rooms you don't think they could be in and find just one more. Would you stand and sing with us?